Macmillan Audio presents A Day in the Life of Abed Salama, written by Nathan Thrall, read by Peter Ganim.
We do not see our hand in what happens, so we call certain events melancholy accidents when they are the inevitabilities of our projects, and we call other events necessities merely because we will not change our minds. Stanley Cavell. Prologue. On the night before the accident, Milad Salama could hardly contain his excitement for the class trip. "Baba," he said, tugging at the arm of his father, Abed, "I want to buy food for the picnic tomorrow." They were at the apartment of Abed's in-laws, who owned a small convenience store a few steps away. Abed took his 5-year-old son through one of the narrow alleys of Abed Salama, a neighborhood in Anata where they lived. On a street with no sidewalks, they inched their way between the parked cars and stalled traffic. A matrix of cables and wires and string lights hung overhead, dwarfed by the looming tower blocks that rose 4, 5, even 6 times higher than the separation barrier, the 26-foot-tall concrete wall that encircled Anata. Abed remembered a time, not so long before, when Abed Salama was rural and bare, when it was still possible to spread out, not up. Inside the store, Abed bought Milad a bottle of the Israeli orange drink Tapuzina, a tube of Pringles, and a chocolate Kinder Egg, his favorite treat. Early the next morning, Abed's wife, Haifa, who was slim and fair like Milad, helped the boy into his uniform, a white-collared shirt, a gray sweater bearing the emblem of his private elementary school, Nur al-Huda, and the gray pants he had to keep pulling up to his small waist. Milad's 9-year-old brother, Adam, had already left. A white school van honked lightly from the street. Milad hurried to finish his usual breakfast of olive oil, za'atar, and lebene, mopping them up with a piece of pita bread. Smiling broadly, he gathered his lunch and treats, then kissed his mother goodbye and scrambled out the door. Abed was still asleep. When he got up, it was gray outside and raining heavily, with gusts so strong he could see people on the street struggling to walk straight. Haifa watched out the window, frowning. "The weather is not good." "Why are you worrying like this?" Abed said, touching her shoulder. "I don't know. Just a feeling." Abed had the day off from his job at the Israeli phone company Bezek. He and his cousin Hilmi drove together to buy meat from his friend Atef, who owned a butcher shop in Abed Salama. Atef wasn't there, which was unusual. Abed asked one of the workers to check on him. Atef lived in a different part of Jerusalem, Kufr Aqab, a dense urban neighborhood of tall, unregulated, and haphazardly built apartment towers that, like Abed Salama, was cut off from the rest of the city by a checkpoint and the wall. To avoid the daily traffic jams and the wait at the checkpoint that could last for hours, he took a circuitous route to work. Atef reported that he was stuck in horrible traffic. There appeared to be a collision ahead of him on the road between 2 checkpoints, one at the Kalandia refugee camp and the other at the village of Jeb'a. Moments later, Abed received a call from a nephew. "Did Milad go on the outing today? There was an accident with a school bus near Jeb'a." Abed's stomach turned. He left the butcher shop with Hilmi and got into his cousin's silver Jeep. They drove down the hill through the morning traffic, past the teenage boys starting work in the auto body shops with Hebrew signage for Jewish customers, past Milad's school, and then alongside the wall. The road bent around the housing development of the Neve Yaakov settlement and climbed the steep hill to Geva Binyamin.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?